So, who watched the budget this lunchtime? I was glued to it while I was literally eating my sandwich at lunchtime to see what was in store for us as business owners. And I'd say it was kind of a mixed bag, wasn't it? So, you're probably pretty up to date on what was in it now, but maybe not thought quite through about the consequences yet. I don't know. I suppose there were some positives in there. So, first of all, there were some good plans for public spending and improving the infrastructure with capital expenditure and bigger budgets for schools. And of course, they've not removed the freeze on fuel duty. So that means that petrol and diesel aren't going up. So it's good news there in terms of our expenses. Then also, of course, although in terms of personal taxation, there were no increases at all. One of the things I was a little bit disappointed about is that the personal allowance before you start paying tax and national insurance is staying frozen until 2028. I was a bit disappointed that they didn't raise the personal allowance to bring people out of actually paying tax who are on the lowest incomes. But the thing I'm most concerned about, I suppose, as a business owner was minimum wage. We knew it was going up, and it is. From April 2025, national minimum wage is going up to £12.21 per hour. Now, in our industry, the reality is most of us, especially with domestic cleaning businesses, don't pay minimum wage. We pay well above minimum wage. And when minimum wage changes, we have to put our wages up to keep pace and keep ahead of it, especially when you're looking at travel time. So the reality is we're all going to have to put our wages up in order to either keep at minimum wage or, as is most likely, to keep enough ahead of minimum wage for it to work and for us to be able to recruit. And of course, it's not just the cost of the wage increase, because on top of the increase, you've got just over 12% in holiday pay. Then, of course, you've got your employer's pension contributions and employer's national insurance. And of course, in April next year, that will go up from 13.8% to 15%. Not just that, but they're actually reducing the allowance before somebody starts being eligible to have to pay employer contributions on their earnings. And that means that that's reducing from around £9,000 a year to just £5,000 a year. So effectively halving the threshold. So the reality is now somebody would have to be doing relatively few hours for you in order for you not to have to pay employers' contributions. So that's a big change. So not only has the rate gone up, but the actual allowance before you have to start paying it has gone significantly down. It's halved. Now, what that means is, of course, again, prices are going to have to go up, because not only do we have the minimum wage increase, extra holiday pay and pension contributions, but of course, we're going to have to also pay the additional employer's national insurance. So prices are going to have to rise next April without a doubt. Now, there was a little bit of an offset for smaller businesses, and that they have doubled the employment allowance from £5,000 to £10,500. And what that employment allowance is for is it means you won't actually pay the first £10,500 per year of employer national insurance contributions. But of course, more of your team will be over the threshold of you having to pay it. Hopefully it will balance out. And I think if you have perhaps less than 8 part-time staff, the two will offset each other. But any more than 8, and I suspect you'll be paying a lot more. Now, the Chancellor did say that anybody with 4 full-time employees on minimum wage, as an example, won't have to pay any employer's national insurance. But in our industry, most of our staff are not full-time. So in reality, it might be 8 staff before it will affect you. I haven't done any actual calculations yet, but I will do some over the next couple of days, and I'll post those so you can kind of get a look at what effect, if any, it may have on your business. Overall, I thought it was a relatively positive budget for business. I suppose the onus is on businesses to fill the gap in the government finances, and I'm not really against that, but I do worry about smaller businesses. But it is what it is, and we can only deal with it. The number one thing really is prices are going to have to go up again, because wages are going to go up in April, and therefore customers are going to be the ones that we're paying for this, not businesses really, because we are going to have to cover the costs somehow. So I hope that's been helpful. Hopefully you're not feeling too bad about the budget. I certainly think it perhaps wasn't as bad as it could have been for us as business owners. So thanks for watching and listening, and watch out for those calculations in the next couple of days.